So, I'm about to walk in and watch Dune Part 2. This is one of my most anticipated movies of the entire year. And for the simple reason that I recently rewatched Dune Part 1, and I sort of have a newer appreciation for it. Not the way I did when I was 11 years old, but I can actually understand the story better. And I'm so excited for Dune Part 2. Heard nothing but great things. And I'm gonna watch it, let you know what I thought of it when I get out of the theater.
Hi, my name is Nathan, and I talk about a bunch of movies on this channel. If you're new here, down below in the comment section, share what you thought of Dune 2. I know I'm a bit late to posting this review. That footage you saw at the beginning of this video is right before I went into the theater on March 1st, Friday night, and it's just some things. I have to do some stuff at school, and so I wasn't able to film this review just yet, but now I have the time where I can actually film a review for the film, and so I absolutely did want to talk about it. So down below, share what you thought of it. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button and be sure to subscribe. I have more content over on my channel. Check those out once this video is over. And with that said, let's just get straight into this, talking about the good. And with this film, I think I should just get straight to the point talking about this one. It's fantastic. Everybody has been saying that this movie is great, fantastic, one of the best movies of the 2020s, and that's not very far off from the truth. That is very, very true statement, because this is just an epic, massive in scale movie. It's immaculate on every single level when it comes to the visuals, the characters, the plot, the scope, the scale. It all just feels like it's told on such a large scale that this is how sci-fi should be done. Like, where it's not a movie that relies on big gigantic action sequences, though there are more action sequences in this movie than there are in the first Dune. But it's really about the characters and the relations they have with other people, who they're trying to go against. It's really about that aspect, and it's much more mature than most sci-fi movies. And I think this is how sci-fi, like, this is how it should be done, where it just feels large in scale. You care about the characters. It's a big, gigantic story, and this is, if you want to make a big blockbuster sci-fi project, this is a great example of that, especially for a sequel. Now, to be fair, when I was 11 years old, the first Dune came out, and I did see it, and I wasn't particularly crazy about that film back then. I rewatched it in preparation for this video, or for Dune Part 2 before it came out, and I appreciated it a lot more than I did when I was 11, probably because I was only 11 and I didn't really understand. I do have a review for that on my channel when I was just a dumb little kid, which is kind of funny now because my perspective on the film has changed so much, but I still would say that this one is better than the first film. The performances are often powerful. I think Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet are the ones given the most screen time in the film, and they just do phenomenal jobs at playing these characters. And sometimes their performances, like, it's very emotional, it's satisfying, and it all goes down to the performances of the film. The story, to me, is much more straightforward than the first film. Whereas the first film, when I was 11 years old, I didn't get used to more mature sci-fi, and so very complex, layered. And maybe if I was 11 years old today, I would feel the same way about this film. But here, as a 14-year-old kid who understands stories better, rewatched the first Dune, liked it a lot more, this one was much more straightforward to me than that one, where the characters, clear goals, what they want to do, what they are doing in every sequence, and everything has meaning to it. You got a bunch of sequences where Paul is training with the Fremen, and sometimes it can get really, really satisfying in certain sequences. Sorry, I coughed there. Just had to let that cough out. Like, for some reason, I was holding that in for about 2 minutes. But beside that, I just really enjoyed the character work in this film, and you absolutely do care about the characters and story. Where, like, the Harkonnens are evil, and the Fremen are trying to work against them, and you're absolutely rooting for the Fremen. And some of the Harkonnens are just savage, like Austin Butler's character, who, I'll be honest, ever since I saw the trailers, I forgot Austin Butler was in this movie until I actually saw it. But he's just great at playing this legitimate psychopath that you are kind of disgusted by whenever he shows up on the screen. And in this movie, you absolutely do care about what happens to the characters, how the story plays out. You absolutely do care about all of it. And I found this one a lot more satisfying than the first film. Now, maybe this one gets more benefit because the first film is a part one. It does end on a cliffhanger in this one here. But because, actually, I have it on the side here. Let me move some materials out of the way. I know this is very unprofessional the way I'm doing this video, but there's a bunch of stuff on top of this. Ooh. But I actually do own a copy of Frank Herbert's novel, Dune, and very lengthy book. I haven't even read the full thing. I've read a little bit of it, but I haven't even read the full thing. Maybe I'll do that or whenever the time comes around, but I expected it to have like a satisfying conclusion, and while this movie, it leaves some plot points that it sets up for future films, I think this movie adds on a much more satisfying conclusion than the first film, and it makes the first film to me a lot better. And like, I think I like the first one a lot more, not only when I rewatched it, but when I first watched this movie, I think the first one was elevated a lot more. And like I said, everything is on an epic scale. Like, the characters, harrowing journeys, like, big, gigantic, massive visual effects. This movie's budget is like $195 million, which isn't cheap. But there are some movies that are cost more expensive to make. Say, The Marvels. It recently came out. It has like $220 million. I wasn't like amazed by the visuals in that movie, and so this movie, everything's massive in scale. The story, the scope, the scale, the epic action battle sequences, and it didn't have to rely on that to be a great movie. So, thoroughly enjoyed what they do with this one. And from there, let's move on to this very short section of the video where I talk about the bad. And there's not much to say here because I think this is a fantastic movie. I will say, I think it's a bit too long for my liking. This movie is nearly 3 hours. It is 2 hours and 45 minutes. And I think I did feel the length in the theater a little bit. And some of that is its pacing and stuff like that. But who really cares? Let's be honest here. Who really cares? And it's not a movie I would tend to like rewatch because of its length, but who really cares about that? This is still a phenomenal, fantastic movie. And if you're a big fan of the first one, if you're a sci-fi fan and you haven't seen the first one, check out the first one and absolutely do see this one on the big screen. Overall, I will give this one an A. Like I said, absolutely see this one on the big screen. That's just my recommendation, though. Down below in the comment section, share what you thought of Dune Part 2 over on my channel. I have more content like this. Check those out right now. Click the like button and be sure to subscribe. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end. I will see you in the next one.